Okay, my fantasy freaks, we are here and we are doing a real draft. I gotta say, I'm sick of the mock drafts, both for myself and watching them on YouTube. Here's the problem with a mock draft. Uh, you have a lot of people who are not taking it seriously, so your real life results are going to be completely diminished. So today, I'm doing a Yahoo Public no money draft in prep for all of my money drafts. So over the next couple weeks, I'll have a pretty decently sized money draft coming in, and then a pretty gigantic money draft. But I wanted to bring to you a real draft so that we could get a real idea of what picks are going to look like. So today, I've got the fourth pick, and I think I'm probably going to get Luka. So I've sort of pre-filled my sheet with Luka as my worst case scenario. If I get anything better than Luka, I will be pleased. But let's see how we do today. So I am going to be using my 2025-2026 Ultimate Draft Guide. This is a 10-team league, so what I'm going to be doing is drawing names from my projected averages and simply popping them into my sheet number here, my live draft partner, and it's really simple. What you do for the live draft partner is all you need to do is have the name spelled totally correctly, and the stats automatically propagate. So as my draft goes, I will be able to compile a accurate list of my stats to make sure I am going after the right sort of categories here. So with a projected Luka start, I'm probably going to be going for those big juicy stats, likely a field goal-ish punt, not necessarily, probably a turnover punt, which is pretty standard. But let's see how this draft goes, and let's see if we get any real-world insights from finally a real draft. So number one goes Jokic, standard. Let's see here. Number two, probably Wemby, as usual. Could go shy. Oh, SGA goes. Wemby falls to me. I am thrilled, but I'm expecting Luka. So standard, let's take Luka. Let's keep going. LeBron is going to be out, so Luka's a very obvious pick here. Let's grab him. Alrighty, so mostly standard to start here. Joker, SGA, Wemby, totally good, totally interchangeable. All right, Giannis Bobanis goes. Okay. Real draft. We doing a real draft. All right, so a good pairing for round two. If I have a Luka, who is a good pairing? Let's kind of see who falls to me. Then I'll start to put people in my queue so that I could be accurate here. But who should I get? In an ideal world, I'm really going to want to juice my points, rebounds, assists, and steals. So like a Josh Giddey is a great grab. I think too early at pick 17 for sure. Probably too early at 24, but I'm not going to get him at 37. So Giddey could be a guy I try to target in the third here. Let's see if I can get like an elite assist guy. I don't love Domantas Sabonis this year, but I feel like he's also a really, really good player for a Luka build in a certain sense. The problem is that he doesn't get threes and he doesn't get you any steals or blocks. So you really do need to start to aggressively begin to punt. I don't know if I want to do that early, so let's just see as the draft continues. Most of the picks here, extremely standard. Cade, a little early, but fine. Anthony Davis, Booker, Curry, Durant, Trae Young, everything is totally standard here. Let's see, nothing crazy. Who is my next pick? With 4 spots left, I need to... Harden goes, amen. A little early for Jalen Brunson. I don't like Tyrese Maxey this year because I think Sixers are going to be a sort of a tankathon team. Harden goes, totally fine. Ooh, and Alperen Sengun is somebody I should really look at with a Luka build because I'm getting really juicy stats across the board with points, rebounds, assists, and even steals, a bit of blocks. But can I say no to an Amen Thompson here? A little early, but like a guy that you just cannot afford to not get this season. Let's see, maybe an Amen. I like Jalen here too. So I feel like I've kind of summed up the guys who I want here. So let's think. Who can I get here where I'm getting value on the back end? I like Amen. I think I can go Sengun and then Amen on the back end. With a Luka build. No threes on a Luka. There's no threes here, so that's a lot of the redeeming value. Maybe Jalen Williams makes a lot of sense here too. I don't love it. I'm going to go amen. You just can't lose with amen. And we're pretty much going Alperen Sengun or a Jalen Johnson. These dynamic big men that also get big assists. Like, that is a really interesting combo here. So every guy who I have highlighted here, it's like a Donovan Mitchell, I don't think is like a perfect play with that. Doesn't get you... He's not bad. I don't love it. I just don't love that spot here. Let's see. Sengun goes, so let's see. Who do I want to pair? I can't really go wrong here. I think I won't go a Brunson, although I like the threes with him. The decent threes with him. The assists are really good, but there's nothing in the way of steals or blocks. Nothing in the way of steals or blocks. Jalen Johnson's dynamic, but like, will he get injured? I don't know. I like a Josh Giddey a lot in this spot here too. Giddey could be too early, candidly. Giddey could be too early, but I feel like he's a safer play than Jalen Johnson. You don't get the same upside in blocks, but you definitely have the same upside in steals. You're going to get better assists. I feel like he's a perfect match with Doncic, and I'm really starting to load up on those big counting category stats where I get points, rebounds, assists, and a little bit of steals here because I've grabbed Thompson. Not that I'm going for a punt at this point, but I think Giddey could be a good grab here. So, I'll make the decision when it's time to make the decision. Good. Make it easy for me. No Jalen Williams. Perfect. It's between Johnson and Giddey. Two of the guys who I really, really like here. Could there be better picks in this spot? Perhaps. Perhaps. Ooh, if I could get Derek White on the next round, am I getting him? Probably not getting him at 37. Not getting any of these guys on the turn anyway. There's a lot of good big men in the mid rounds. So do I need a Jalen Johnson here? I think I'm going to take the number one option here. What I do like too is looking at this. I think Jalen Johnson and Giddey are going to have similar turnovers, but Giddey's going to get me more assists. And I already have Thompson, who's got blocks and steals here. Jalen Johnson's good, but I think Giddey's going to be better for this build. Let's grab a Giddey. A little early, but let's get Giddey. I don't think I'll regret that. Let's see as this draft progresses here. Let's take a look at the results. See if anything's standard or not standard. Standard across the way. First round, second round across the way. This is a 10-man draft, by the way. Yahoo standard 10-man. Let's see. Second round, everything's standard. Sabonis, Harden, Maxey, Amen, Donovan Mitchell, Sengun, Mobley, Brunson, Jalen Williams, Scotty Barnes, Josh Giddey, Jalen Johnson, LaMelo. I don't love LaMelo this year. Siakam, Jaylen Brown early. I think Boston could be a shutdown candidate, but Brown's going to have a massive year. If they do play the full season, the Celtics are in for crazy, crazy stat returns for their players. So, Zubac goes a little bit early. Dyson Daniels goes. That's good. Good niche steals. If I could get Derek White on the turn, I'd be pleased here. So let's start to highlight some players. I like Derek White. I like Franz, but I don't love Franz. He's so across the board, and I just think there's not enough ball in Orlando for him to return the same exact category profile as he had last year. I almost rather have a De'Aaron Fox ahead of Wagner, but Fox is starting the year injured. I probably don't want to take too many. I like a Trey here as well. If I could get a Trey for my 5th round, I think I'll be pretty pleased here. I like Cooper a lot too this year. Love Cooper. Derek White went, so I'm going to have to make a decision. I'm fading a LeBron, and I'm a couple picks away. I don't love Paolo, but if he's going to fall to me in the 4th, I could really start to make some punt decisions. Am I punting too much here? I'm loading up on my counting categories if I get a Paolo. Wow, Paolo's here. Paolo is here, so I think I'm going to take a Paolo and try to pair it with a Trey Murphy, a Cooper, or a Zion on my next pick. The problem with Paolo is that, listen, maybe he can get a better field goal percentage this year, but like the combination of bad field goal, bad free throw, and turnover do hurt, but he gets you everything in your counting categories. So with my build right now, I could really start to juice up on these big counting stats, and then I could sort of pare down in the make little tinkers to my team as the draft goes on. Paolo's probably an interesting pick here. Let's think. For this build, I don't hate Paolo. I could make better picks, but let's just go big stats. Let's get Paolo. Paolo Banchero. We are really juicing up today. Let's take a look at our team, see how we are doing. Oh, I haven't added any of these players, so let's start to add some players here. We can do it really quickly. Amen. Let's add Amen. See how our stats are doing. Let's add Giddy. And then after Giddy, and look, all our stats automatically propagate so we can kind of track what we're doing, and then we're going to get a Paolo Banchero. P-A-O. Okay, we made 4 picks so far. And let's see how we're doing. Our field goal percentage is okay. Free throw, not great. Threes, okay. Points per game, strong. Rebounds, really decent. Really decent for not having drafted a center. So that's pretty interesting. Steals are great. Assists are great. Turnovers are trash. So let's start to highlight what we may have a chance of winning. If I start to lean towards some big men, I could mitigate my field goal percentage. So I could go after field goal percentage. It's going to be tough to pair field goal percentage and threes. I may have to punt one of them, or soft punt one of them. Let's kind of soft punt field goal-ish, because we may be able to do pretty well against most of the field in field goal percentage while maintaining good rebounds and threes and points per game. I think we could do pretty well here. I mean, turnovers are a punt. Let's see what the market has to offer us. Trey Murphy is still here and Cooper is still here. I'm pretty much aggressively trying to go for those guys. So we have 4 turns to our pick. So let's kind of put together 4 guys. I like Ja. I like Denny Advia, though I don't know if he's going to be starting in the opener, but he'll be starting eventually. A little early for a Denny, but let's click Denny too. And let's kind of let it sit right now. I don't think we're doing so well in blocks, but I could address blocks in the next round, I think. Let's not go crazy. Let's take what the market has to offer. If we grab a Trey Murphy, we do ourselves a huge favor in the way of 3-pointers made. I think field goal may be somewhat of a foregone conclusion because I have drafted Banchero and Zion went. If Zion was there, I may have been inclined to grab Zion. So I think I'm between 2 guys, Trey Murphy and a Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag is good, and I think he's going to be a nice, efficient guy, but I think Trey is sort of my guy here. I think Trey is my guy. I like Cooper, but I think Trey is my guy this year. He's going to be low turnover. That's one thing to consider too. I think Cooper and Trey will be both low turnover, which is like a category I'm not really focusing on right now, so I could kind of punt that. But Trey gets you good steals, good points, and good threes. I think I should grab some threes now and then start to build on my threes and see what I do here. I may be doing let's just take Trey and evaluate. I think we're taking a Trey and we're going to evaluate. I think Trey is like the number 1/number 2 option on that team. Zion's still there, but any injury, Trey eats. And I think he eats regardless. Trey looks so good in the preseason. We're going to grab a Trey Murphy here. So let's see what this is looking like. Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy the third. Just copy and paste the name, and this magic reference does everything for you. So let's see. Pop it in there. And boom. Okay, so we're looking good in threes. We're looking good in points. Rebounds are still decent. Assists are still really decent here. Steals are okay. So we're looking good across the board in these counting categories. Blocks are still a little bit low. We may want to start to address blocks. If a Miles Turner is there on our next pick, that's pretty interesting because we could kind of combine threes and blocks. We could continue to build on our threes while grabbing those blocks. So let's tee up some players. We're going to grab Vooch, Porzingis, Miles Turner, then Jalen Duren. Here's why I hesitate to grab a Brandon Miller. If I grab a Brandon Miller, listen, I don't think I'm winning turnovers anyway. Doesn't even matter. But if I would have grabbed a Brandon Miller there anyway, I'm saying goodbye to field goal percentage for a lot of my matchups. And I think I still have a decent chance of doing okay in field goal percentage. Okay. I could probably beat 3 or 4 of the teams. Let's see what 3 or 4 of the teams look like in field goal percentage. That's what I figured. I'm 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 teams if I'm having a really good shooting week. So it's a variable that I may be able to beat a few teams at. So I don't totally want to punt it. And if I grabbed a Brandon Miller, that would be what I was doing there. So let's see. Do I want to grab a Vooch? Porzingis is one of those guys that could have a great season, but doesn't even matter. He gets drafted. Let's start to build some more guys here. I do like an OG, although I think his stats are going to go down a bit because his playing time will go down a bit. What is good about an OG is that he is good for my build where I'm getting good threes, okay points, really good steals, and decent blocks for somebody who has this kind of unique statistical return. Let us see. I do like Hero and Garland. As we get past round 7, people may sleep on them because they have the injury tag, but most standard Yahoo leagues have an injury reserve, so you could put these guys on the injury reserve and then grab a couple guys early on who pop. The first couple weeks is a great time to utilize the waiver wire. That's where you're going to get all of your action. The first couple weeks is when we start to identify players that are carving out a role early on, so having that flexibility and having a good player that you can utilize later on in the season just gives you so much flexibility to grab players who can be, who can garner great returns. Like a Dyson Daniels last year was a perfect example of somebody who could grab off the waiver wires, who is a huge difference maker. And okay, let's see. Vooch is interesting because I am getting out of position threes, low end on the blocks, but really good rebounds. I could really build on that. And if I could pair him with a Duren or an OG, I could really continue to kind of soup up my build there. So I think Vooch has a bit of a decreased role this season, but still is always going to be decent. I do have 2 center positions available. I think I'm going to try to go for a Vooch Duren combo. If I miss Duren, OG as a backup. If I miss OG, then I think maybe a Levine is cool in this spot too. Doesn't get you anything in the way of steals or blocks, but really okay. Great combo of field goal percentage to threes and really works on my build too. So let's grab a Vooch. N-I-K... Nikola Vucevic. Let's plug him in and see how our build is going on here. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I picked 6 guys already, and let's see how we're doing. Brandon Ingram, that's an early pick. I think he could have a great year, but doesn't get you anything in steals or blocks. Decently high turnover, and he's just pretty flat across the board. I don't love an Ingram. Injury prone on a Toronto team, like who knows what they're doing. But Duren is a good grab for me in the spot. If I miss Duren, I think I'm going for Levine. If I miss Levine, do I want to take a Hero? Grab my Hero value. If I could grab Hero around 8, I think that's insane lockup value. Let's kind of wait on Hero because I think there's a good chance I could juice my value if I wait. I think there's a good chance I could juice my value if I wait. He's probably going to go in the round 7, maybe early round 8, so I could miss him. Same with Garland too. But I do have a good starting group for my point guard, so I'm not desperate for a point guard. I don't have to go and grab a point guard. Let's see. Ooh, Peyton Pritchard is a really interesting look in the later rounds too. I really like Peyton. I think Peyton over Zach LaVine, maybe. That could be crazy. Good, it doesn't even matter. I like Peyton Pritchard a lot. I like Peyton Pritchard a lot in this spot. I still think Duren is my guy here just to fortify my rebounds. Wow, early grab on Asar. Very early grab on Asar. I like Asar Thompson a lot, but like there's no super clear path for him to have a gigantic season. He'll be like steals and blocks specialty. I think I'm grabbing a Duren here. I'm not getting too many better rebounds later on and a super efficient big man who will help my field goal percentage while I still do okay with threes with my other big man Vooch. Let's see, I think it's going to be a Duran here. Man, Peyton Pritchard would be really good to fortify those threes, but I do need to establish more rebounds to make sure I lock that up. Let's see how I'm looking here. Rebounds would be okay here. I'm not desperate for rebounds, and I could grab more rebounds later on, but can I grab a player like Pritchard later on? I don't think I'll regret grabbing a Duran, but there will be better big men later on. Let's grab a Duran. Let's add him too and just keep working along. How good is this build? I don't know. I'm not doing a hard punt. I'm doing kind of like soft punt turnovers, which is naturally going to happen with a team that's going to win assists. I am looking okay. Let's kind of measure myself against other teams right now with averages. Field goals decent, free throws low. Threes are okay, points are okay, rebounds are tops, assists are okay, steals are decent, blocks are decent, turnovers are okay. So I'm pretty good across the board. I could have a couple good shots of winning 7-2 a lot of times this year, 6-3 a lot of times, and then modifying my team as we get close to the playoffs to sort of narrow in on my categories. But for now, I'm feeling pretty good. Hero win. If I could grab Garland, I'm jumping on it. So to me, it looks like a Garland grab, Peyton Pritchard, Jordan Poole, DeAndre Ayton for value. I do like a Norman Powell a lot this year, but I could grab him. I think I could get better value with a lot of these names lower on in my list. I am going to focus on the guys that are in front of my face. So let's see if I could grab a Poole. I like Michael Porter Jr. as a net a lot, but I just think that the Nets are going to be a tankathon team post All-Star break. You are not going to even see this dude. He will not show up anywhere. We'll start to see fake injuries. That's why Porter Jr. is going so late in drafts. Jordan Poole. I think Poole will be good, but he does crush my field goal percentage and crush my turnovers. So I'm inclined to see if I could get better value elsewhere aside from a Poole. I almost rather have a Powell over a Poole. And that may be crazy, a Norm Powell over a Poole. I am losing out on assists. Very small amount of steals, but Powell's going to have a really good jump start to the season because there's no Hero. And if I want to, maybe I could get good trade value for him before Hero comes back. But I'm getting good field goal percentage relative to threes and points. And he's pretty much like a Poole with less assists and just way better turnovers. So I don't have to totally sacrifice turnovers, even though I'm kind of punting turnovers because I've drafted Giddey and Paolo. But maybe I don't have to go down that road. Doesn't even matter. I like Powell a lot, more so than anybody else that's in my face. And I've got a secret weapon too. I've got a secret weapon, and that would be Khalil Ware for my next pick. Khalil Ware is most improved player candidate. I think he is going to have a huge unsung season. He's like my perfect 9th rounder. He is my super value 9th rounder. And I think I want to go Powell, fortify my threes, and then grab a Khalil Ware where I have a center that also has power forward and forward eligibility. That's my vibe. We're going Powell. Probably early for Powell. Was there anybody else who I could have grabbed where I'm getting more value? Maybe a Christian Brown, but Christian Brown's a little too flat across the board. He's a little too flat across the board. I think he has a good season, but I think Powell's going to have an excellent season. Let's start to order up some guys. My next guy is definitely Khalil Ware, then a Christian Brown. Too early for a Matas. I really think it's too early for a Matas Buzelis. I think a Cameron Johnson ahead of a Matas right now. And then I'm just not jumping out of my chair for anyone else. I think CJ McCollum has a crazy first 3 months of the season. And then a lot like a Michael Porter Jr., you are going to see him fall off a cliff with the fake injuries. I'm worried about the fake injury guys this year. So I'm kind of avoiding a CJ McCollum, kind of avoiding a Michael Porter Jr. I do like an Alex Sarr a lot. I am probably going to fade him unless I miss out on Khalil. If I miss out on a Khalil, I will consider a Sar. But what I like about a Khalil is that he has power forward eligibility, gives me just more flexibility. Plus, I think he delivers a better field goal percentage and a lower turnover rate. And while I think Sar will have a good block season, good points and rebounds, and actually decent threes from a big, he's going to be higher volume free throw, which is going to hurt us. We're kind of punting free throws anyway, but he is going to be just, the turnovers are not going to be good for a big man, but I'm kind of soft punting turnovers. If I lose a Khalil, I may grab a Sar, but let's just see. I'm hoping I don't lose out on Khalil here. I don't think the market has caught on to how amazing Khalil is going to be this year. This is going to be, I think, a league-winning pick in this spot. My 2 cents. Do with it what you want. We like Khalil a lot this season. We like Khalil a lot. I think Yahoo totally is undervalued what he's going to do. He could be close to 20 and 10 this year with a block and a half, close to a steal, maybe 2 assists, and really good field goal percentage. Maybe even close to like a 3.5. I think he's going to do a lot of outperforming this season. Shaden Sharp will have a decent year too, but Khalil's my guy. If I could grab Khalil, I'll be pleased. Let us see. Fingers crossed, we are holding tight for Khalil. If I miss Khalil, I think it's a Sar. And if I miss Sar, maybe I reach for a Christian Brown, but like, still feel like it's not enough value for a Christian Brown. He's good, but he just doesn't do anything for my team here. Let's see, did I grab... Oh, I didn't add Norman Powell to my list. Let's add Norman Powell. Did we get Ware? Yeah, we're going to get Ware. So let's add Norman Powell. And then we're going to grab a Khalil Ware. Good, I feel good about these outcomes right now. All right, we have Khalil Ware at the top of our queue. Let's type him in before we grab him, give ourselves a little advantage here. Where are you, Mr. Ware? Khalil Ware. Boom. Okay, we should have 4 more picks left. That would have been our, we have 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, we're grabbing Khalil for sure. That was a good pick. It's a really good pick. And my projections are light. My projections are light on Ware. I need to update my projections. I think Ware goes for minimum 17 points per game. I'll leave everything else across the board. I have him for 1.9 threes, 1.4 blocks. I think I may up his turnovers a little bit because I did not see him getting as many minutes as I thought, but I think we're going to uptick assists to 2, put turnovers up a bit, and get his PPG up to 17. So my team is still looking pretty tight here. Threes and blocks, to be able to get both of these is pretty good, and I think that's the nature of having a Luka build where you're already starting out of the gate with good threes, rebounds, and assists, and steals. So, if Luka stays healthy, I think our build is going to be really nice here. Like I said, I think we'll win because I've been pretty strategical in getting good big men. I think Paolo's going to hurt our field goal percentage anyway. That's a big variable. If Paolo can shoot over 48% this year, which is a big ask, I think we really give ourselves a chance to win field goal percentage half of the time. We're looking good. Our team composition is looking good here. What's working, what isn't? Free throw percentage, and I'll show you what I do here for free throw percentage, by the way. Field goal percentage, just like free throw percentage, is not based on average of percentages. It's based on the average projection of the field goals attempted and field goals made. So field goal percentage is used with actual numbers, or let's say not actual, projected numbers of field goal makes divided by field goal attempts. This way we get very accurate figures of what our true field goal percentage will look like. So a little bit of an edge here. Assists are looking a little bit light. I may want to start to grab some good assist guys, if any of them still exist. But I do have a good foundation, and especially with LeBron not starting the season, I think we will jump out to a pretty good start. Luka could average close to a triple-double, and that is not crazy for him whatsoever. A triple-double with close to 2 steals per game would be, obviously top 3, top 4 value, which is, totally in alignment with a Luka Doncic. Who can we get with decent assists in this spot? I feel like I don't want to grab a Draymond. Doesn't get me enough in any other stats aside from blocks and steals and some assists. Let's over-optimize. All right, Halliburton. Should we get a Halliburton? Obviously not. Do we want to get DeJounte Murray as a last rounder? I just think they're going to bring him along so slowly. There's no more unbelievably good assist guys left. Keontae George could be a good assist guy, but the combination of horrible field goal and horrible turnovers, I think, is going to be a team killer. Maybe a D'Angelo Russell as a last pick. I think that's actually going to be a very interesting last pick for us to delay D'Angelo Russell, just to boost those assists a little bit. Because I already have such a good start with assists when I have Doncic, Giddey, and even Thompson. Let's take a look at my team. It's a really, really, really good start here. The combo of getting these guard positions that have unbelievable rebounds give me a really, really good shot to win rebounds most of the week. I think I'm even averages, projected averages. I should be 1 or 2 in rebounds. Wow, I'm jumped well ahead in rebounds. I think it's tough. Ooh, my threes are not that good according to projections. I think I'm going to need to grab a good three-pointer guy. I like Reed. I like Reed Shepherd. I think he's going to be an interesting player, but he's going to hurt me in field goal percentage. But I don't think I have to loom on that too much. A CJ McCollum is going to end up getting me good threes here. CJ is going to have a crazy start to the season, but I think he's going to have a weird field goal percentage, and I think he's going to have nothing in the way of steals or blocks, but I have a really good start in steals and blocks to begin with. I may want to fortify my steals and blocks. If I could fortify my steals and blocks here, I could really run away with almost guaranteed wins every week. I think I've got my points locked up. I think I got my points locked up. Yet I am second to last in points. I think I should do better than projections in points. Let's see what this guy's looking like. He's got good points here, but like also LeBron James is going to be out for a long time, and Joel Embiid, who knows? So that's... I think CJ is good value here, but not good season-long value. Is there anybody good? Any like secret little players that are just hiding here? I don't think so entirely. Drew, another guy. Drew's just like a CJ McCollum, where I think you're going to get a huge cliff post All-Star break. Do I want to grab a Keontae? It's going to be good points and assists, but he's going to hurt me. I don't really want to draft players that are going to hurt me here. I think I could do really well off the waiver wire if I don't draft the perfect team. With that said, I think... I don't love it, but I think a CJ is a good spot here. I think grabbing a CJ and a Reed Shepherd is kind of a good combo here. CJ... will definitely help my threes. That'll help my threes. And a Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd is my gamble here, but rounds 11, 12, and 13 is where you sort of need to start to take your shots. Like, I could go for tried and true players. Wow, Onyeka Okongwu's still there. Onyeka Okongwu's still there, and I think I'll be able to get Reed Shepherd in round 12. If I could grab an Okongwu here, I think I would be content. That is a nice guy to grab at pick 104. I don't think he's going to last. I do not think Okongwu is going to last, but if he's still there, that is a great center grab for me. That fortifies a lot of my stats. I think he has a decent season, and if Porzingis goes down, there's a huge gap up for Okongwu, plus, like... the Hawks, who knows what happens with the Hawks this year? Who knows what happens with the Hawks? But I think Onyeka Okongwu does have a path to like at least 25, 26 minutes, and he could do damage in that time. He's a really good across-the-board guy. To get him in this round would be immense, immense value. I think Okongwu makes sense here. There's a lot of good dynamic guys here as well, like a Jaden McDaniels and a Tamari Kamara. where you're getting really good steals, pretty efficient. But like, I don't need to over optimize for turnovers right now because like it's almost a foregone conclusion here. Although my turnovers are not terrible for somebody who drafted Doncic and Giddey and Bencaro. I think I drafted a really good across the board team here, but I think I've just sort of taken advantage of the market too. As far as just grabbing the players that are like good value when they presented themselves to me. You know, I don't have to do anything too fancy. Like I kind of have an idea of what I'm building. I really am going for those threes while balancing some big man stats, which is tough to achieve. Okongwu is still there. Okongwu is still there, and I think I'm going to be able to sneak a Reed Shepherd and as my next pick. And I'm not desperate for point guards either, because I still have point guard eligibility. I don't think I'll regret it if I take Okongwu and I miss Reed. But I think I'll never be able to get this much value for a center. Yeah, this kind of center value does not really exist. I mean, it probably does exist, and I could grab it off the waiver wire. Like a Santi Aldama is going to be good value. While Zach Edey starts the season injured. I think we're going to grab an Okongwu here. O-N-Y. Onyeka. Let's grab him. O-N-Y. Onyeka Okongwu. By the way, you can grab this ultimate draft sheet. I will leave a link for this in the comments. This is an invaluable tool. It will really allow you to do exactly what I'm doing. Just sort of measure your stats as they come in, and I will show you an amazing tool at the end of this draft where you can throw in the draft results right into this page right here, and it puts in the raw stats, and then it spits it out into this column E, and then that deduces it down into column H, and then everything here is linked to projected averages, so it spits through every single stat so that I have a team comparable table where I can measure my exact draft. And it's going to be more accurate than Yahoo because it's based on my projections, not their projections. And I think, you sort of have to trust your projections over like a standard Yahoo projection. So based on my projections, I can spit out a team comparison table so I can kind of see how my draft went. Back to the draft. And let's see. I think I'm going to be able to get a Reed Shepherd in this spot. I do want to make sure I fortify my team with another really upside point guard. If things fall correctly, Reed Shepherd has a huge year where you're getting unbelievable out of position blocks for a guard. I think he is, let's take a look at this. I'll show you something really, really neat. I like to use this just to get sort of a temperature of what a player can do. So I do Reed Shepherd college stats. And I'll show you, I like to look at the per 40 statistics, and it just shows you a picture of what he can do. So per 40, he did 17.2 points per game. He did 3.4 steals and 1 block with 6.2 assists to 2.8 turnovers and 536 field goal percentage with 381 free throw percentage and 3 threes per game. If everything falls perfectly right for Reed Shepherd, he is going to have an immense year with crazy efficiency from a point guard. Like, I don't think he's going to be as efficient as his per 40s or as he was in college. He was just a stud in college, but this could be his year. This could be his year to totally step up. There is an absolute vacuum with Fred VanVleet going down. So Reed Shepherd could be that dude in round 12. If I could pair Reed Shepherd with do I want to grab another point guard? I could grab like a Kason Wallace who just went. Kason Wallace is also super interesting this year. It's a long season, 82 games, and OKC is going to make sure that they spread out playing time. And a Kason Wallace will have a chance to lead the league in steals. And to get that at the end of the draft is very valuable. But I think I have a shot to do that with a Reed Shepherd. Reed Shepherd, if things fall right, we could be looking at 2.5 steals per game and let's say like 6 assists per game with efficiency stats. So a great combo. I do not want to pass up on a Reed Shepherd here. If I don't get a Reed Shepherd, let's think about some backups here. A good backup in this spot, and I think I'm gonna save this for the last round, is going to be a Zach Edey backup, because when they activate him in Memphis, he could be a walking double-double with ridiculous percentages, and the injury slot allows me to kind of flex in players as the season begins. So I may want to grab for the last pick a Zach Edey or a Keegan Murray, but Keegan is a little flat across the board, and most of his value is actually derived from having incredible turnovers, which is like a category that, I mean, if you're totally punting turnovers, that's fine, but if you're concentrated on winning big stats, Keegan Murray loses a lot of his value. Let's see, I don't love a Pajemski unless there's a bunch of injuries in Golden State. Jabari Smith, I think, has a good chance of having a sneaky season this year. He could be sneaky good with like 28, 29 minutes per game. He's going to start. Kevin Porter Jr. is almost like the really dirty stats this year. I'm just crossing my fingers. I don't have a backup for Reed Shepherd. Let's do Jaden McDaniels as a backup just in case. Oh, Reed fell to us. That's, I think, really good. We're just going to make a quick decision. Let's grab Reed here. I think things fell really right for me in this draft. I think I have pretty lofty projections for Reed Shepherd, but maybe he doesn't get as many points per game. He may be more of like an 11.5 guy, but I think threes have a good chance of falling. And I was lofty. I gave him 48% field goal percentage, 5 assists, and 2.1 steals with 0.4 blocks. So that's good out of position blocks. So my projections are going to look a lot different than Yahoo's. I think that's crazy value for Reed Shepherd. And I feel good. I've got one more pick left, and I think I would love to secure that with a Zach Edey. Let's see how I'm doing in steals. Let's go projected averages just to give myself an idea here. I'm okay in steals. I'm okay in blocks. I'm okay in turnovers. Lower than I should be in assists, but that's something that if Reed Shepherd is better than I think he'll be, that'll tick up. Great in rebounds. Okay in points. Okay in threes. Not great in free throws. So there's a free throw punt team. Okay, fine. And then really good in field goal percentage. So I think I've set myself to be a 7-2 team in this league. Again, this is a public league, so I don't think it's going to be too competitive, but the draft is definitely more representative of a real draft than a mock draft. This is sort of like I mentioned in the beginning, an in-between of a mock draft and like a big money draft. This is way better prep than a mock draft. Mock drafts are just you're gonna have two teams that are just completely BSing around, and you're going to get inaccurate picks when they fall to you. So your team in real life is never going to reflect a team that's as good as a mock draft, but this will reflect a team that is a lot closer to what I will get in a big money league. So let's see who falls to me with the last pick. I'm gonna punt to Keegan. Steph Castle. If the Spurs do not do well out of the gate, you may start to see more Stephon Castle time, but there's just not enough ball to go around on this squad. I think I'm going to avoid a Steph Castle. And if he starts to light it up, I'll grab him as a player off the wire. Keontae George going to slate 2 is also interesting. I could always drop him if I feel like he's too inefficient. But I don't think I want to walk away from a Zach Edey injury reserve. Plus, I could always draft a Zach Edey, and if Keontae falls, I just immediately put Zach Edey to the injury reserve and try to get a waiver claim on Keontae ASAP before the season starts. Aaron Gordon, also interesting this year. Jovic, interesting this year. There's a lot of guys who I can already see can produce really good stat lines off the waiver. Like Isaiah Jackson could be really great off the waiver. Moussa Diabate, like we don't know what's going to shake out in that center position in Charlotte. Yves Missy, 100% too on New Orleans. Ooh, Edey falls. I think we're going to grab an Edey, cross our fingers that Keontae George doesn't get drafted, and then try to get a waiver claim. If I don't get him on a waiver claim, I could get Jaden McDaniels on a waiver claim. I could get a Stephon Castle. I could really start to take some shots here off of the waiver wire. Even a VJ Edgecombe could have a crazy year this year, but this is a 10-man league, so there's a lot of lack of depth here. We're going to grab an Edey just to fortify our big man stats. All right, we're grabbing an Edey. Let's see what that looks like here. Zach Edey. And we've got a complete draft. Okay, I think we did okay. Field goal percentage, if Edey comes back, will be pretty exceptional. Yeah, field goal will end up looking good. Free throws more or less a punt. I think we'll do okay in threes. And the teams that we lose in threes, we will definitely win in field goal. Points are going to be good. Rebounds are going to be good. Assists, I think, will be really decent. Steals will trend well. Blocks, we are going to be flat level. And turnovers, who knows? I think I drafted a really, really good even keel team here. Could I have done better? Perhaps. Do I feel good about this draft? Yes. And what else do I know? The draft is 30% of your season, maybe 20% of your season. The other 70 to 80% is being a good manager. So you need to pay attention. First 2 weeks are the most important weeks of the season. That's when you find your hidden gems. That's where you find your Dyson Daniels. That's where you see, like, keep your ear to the ground. Maybe like a Bryce Sensabaugh, a guy who's going to get a lot of time on Utah, who's going to be like this the Trey Murphy 3, like a Trey Murphy 3 light. So just pay attention, have a really good draft. Just try to have a good draft. You don't have to have a perfect draft, but you do have to stay very active on the waiver wire, and you have to grab those 3 to 4 key guys on the first 2 weeks of the season. Just pay attention, and you'll have a great year. And, use tools like the ones I have. If you want to build your own spreadsheet, absolutely do so. I spent a lot of time on this thing, and I think you'll find really good value out of it. Let me see if this draft is complete. Once this draft is complete, I want to see if Yahoo throws up the draft results. I know they do it in mock drafts. I don't think they do it in real drafts, but if they don't do it in real drafts, I could grab it from the draft room and tie it into this and see what the numbers have to say for themselves. County Georgia did end up going 128. All right, draft complete. The best part about using this is the live draft partner when you're actually doing a live draft, but for the draft prep that you do before, you just get your emails, you drop it right in, just exactly as I've done, and boom, you get everything added here, you get your aggregates, and I've done a lot of mock drafts before. This tool has helped me get to the point where I had, I think, a pretty decent draft. You got your amazing draft partner here. This is like the ultimate tool for a live draft. So happy drafting out there. I hope this is helpful. And this is the first real draft I've done. And this will give you insight to what a real draft looks like as far as a pick by pick. This should work. This should be helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. But kick butt this draft season. Best of luck. And I'll catch you on the next one.